A new era in Tallahassee as Gus Malzahn has retired. Mike Norvell is going to be the play caller. They've got a new offensive coordinator, pass game coordinator. It's all just very, very confusing. Not for Brian Smith, though. He's the host of Locked On Seminoles and the Portal podcast here, part of the Locked On Network, of course. Brian, break down what's different about Florida State's coaching staff from last year. Let's start there, and then we'll dive into the minutia.
Well, without Malzahn there, you don't necessarily have a team that's going to be predicated on the quarterback's going to run constantly. I said the first thing on Locked On Seminoles, probably going to see more drop back passing. Not that they won't have a mobile quarterback, because their roster is still going to be the same, but they're going to key on normal passing. The quarterback's probably not going to get beat up as much. So Malzahn being gone really changes things. Tim Harris goes from receiver coach, passing game coordinator, to being the quote unquote OC. But as you noted, Norvell, as he's done prior, is going to be the play caller, or at least that's what we're told. So all of that, it's just a big, big change, because Norvell, he's under the Malzahn tree. That's one of the guys he came up with, but he still has his own offense and his own thoughts, and they throw it a little bit more in a traditional fashion. So Florida State will still have the same helmets and whatnot, but the play calling is probably going to be very different.
Do you think the offense can be better with Norvell calling the plays?
I think it will be, because Tommy got hurt game 2 or 3 last year and just played through it. He was never, especially the last half of the season, his accuracy really went down. That's the problem with Gus's offense. Quarterback is exposed a lot. They're running counter, they're running draw, they're running lead with the QB. And Tommy's $195. Not the biggest guy in the world to be doing that with. And he got bounced early in one of those games near the goal line, and he got smacked. He was never quite the same. So I expect him to be better, and the receiver group will be good. Running back room will be good. Tight ends will be good. Question, like always, with FSU. 5 transfer linemen there, Spence. 5. That's a lot. I got some talented guys, but does that mesh? I don't know. And then quarterback, we think it's Ashton Daniels to start the year, but it could be. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of change. It feels to me a little bit, with all these different circumstances that have evolved or changed, what have you, feels a little bit like throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. You know, you make a change after the disastrous 2-10 season, and you bring in Gus Malzahn because he's a veteran and didn't forget how to call offensive plays, and UCF's offense was pretty good the year before. You feel good about that. And Florida State, just to be clear, was a much better football team than they were the year before. That's one of several reasons why Mike Norvell hasn't been fired in Tallahassee is, well, they took a step forward after being the worst preseason team, literally in the preseason top 10 team, that is, in the history of college football. So now you've got all these different moves, and I think of 2 comparisons when I hear that Mike Norvell is going to call plays for FSU. I'll start with the more optimistic one, and that's USC and Lincoln Riley. He has been the play caller the entire time. Everywhere he goes, Lincoln Riley calls the offensive plays. Here's another goat. Brent Venables at Oklahoma took over the defensive play calling when things weren't progressing as they were expected to in Norman, and things have gotten much better, and the defense has been very, very good. It's been elite over the last couple of years. It's the only reason Oklahoma was in the playoff, because their offense wasn't any good. But then there's the other end of the spectrum, Brian, and that example is Auburn with Hugh Freeze. At the end, you were changing coordinators, you were changing play callers. I mean, before the year last season, there was that report that they were maybe having one guy for first down, one for second, one for third. I don't think it actually worked out that way. Which situation do you think is more likely for FSU? Does this spell out the beginning of the end for Mike Norvell in Tallahassee, or does he kind of restabilize things a la Brent Venables at Oklahoma?
I don't think he's going to be able to stabilize things, because they don't have the money that Oklahoma does to build the roster. So it's not going to matter. Their defense is going to have some holes in it. If you've got a helmet and you can put on 30, you can play outside linebacker in Tallahassee next year, Spence. It's up to you. Just give me a call. I'll make the arrangements. We'll go.
I'm good. This microphone right here This microphone doesn't hit me back. I'm good. I'm good.
That's probably the best answer for you. But that's their problem. I think they'll score. Deuce Robinson's a dude. Chroma at running back. Oh, yeah. And they brought in good running back. Texas. They got a couple other good players. Tight end. Landon Tom. They're going to score. But are they going to stop anybody? It's not going to be Norvell. They had one of the better offenses in college football in 23. The snub and all that. He's called plays before with a lot of success. And they have some mobile quarterbacks with some experience. There's a chance it'll be good. But they're going to need to score 35 in some games. Winning 31-28 could be the recipe. We both know as soon as you have one key injury here or there on offense, that's where the problems begin. I just don't think they've got enough defensive players if they have any injuries really on either side. That's the issue. And their schedule in the middle is problematic as well. They got Virginia, then they got 2 tough road games. They got Louisville on a Friday night on the road. Good luck. Then they got Miami back. Those 3 in a row. We could be talking about a different situation with Norvell at the end of that because that's right before a bye week. Just going to throw that at you. So, yeah, scoring or not, they're going to give up too many points, and that's their problem.
Louisville, Friday night on the road. Let me think. When was the last time they upset anybody notable on a Friday night at home? Oh, yeah, that's right. They beat Miami last year, the national runners-up in all of college football. Yeah, that's right. That's the thing. So, on the other side, Tony White back as defensive coordinator for the Seminoles this year. And when he got hired from Nebraska, I was sitting there going, Mike, thumbs up, man. This is fantastic. I don't know that you could have made a much better hire when you look at the carousel and who was available and whatnot. The work he'd done at Nebraska was exceptional. They really didn't overhaul their personnel in Lincoln. They just got a lot better with scheme. I felt a little underwhelmed by Tony White in year one. Is that an unfair assessment on my part?
You wouldn't be wrong. The problem is not only was it underwhelming, they didn't have the personnel to do anything that they wanted. He wants to run a very multiple front, 3-man on one play, 4-man on another, et cetera, et cetera. They didn't have the linebackers to run what they wanted. And then this year they don't. It's probably worse. And they didn't spend on it either. So you're pigeonholing the guy that's already under fire. How does that work? So they struggled all like last year, the running back for Pittsburgh, the running back had 150 yards receiving. They just kept putting him in space against Florida State's linebackers. So the scheme's a problem, and they don't have the personnel. And I haven't heard anything about him changing the scheme, and they fired Surtain. Don't get me started on that, because he was arguably their best recruiter. He's a legacy. He's a stud recruiter in South Florida. Besides that, it was a great idea. So I don't see the defense where I'm very down. Like out of the scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 2 on the defense. So
not a big number there.
No,
pretty small number as a matter of fact. It sounds very much from what you just described like when you pull a putt 6 feet past the hole. Well, other than line and speed, it was a good putt. You only missed those 2 components. That's all that was missing from that being a good putt. I'll get you out of here on this, Brian. Is this a make or break year for Mike Norvell?
Yes, I think it is, based on some intel I've gotten. And again, I hinted strongly at the middle of that schedule. They start off with New Mexico State. They got SMU week 2. One of the more
sneaky fun game. It's in Tally.
But Kevin Jennings, third-year starter. That's probably the second best team in the league. It's top 3 anyway. If they lose that game, you know who they play next after that, Spencer? They play there's a town called Tuscaloosa. Who plays in Tuscaloosa?
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
If you start 1-2 and the Boo Birds start, they know, like you got shortly thereafter, you got that 3-game stretch. You got Virginia, Louisville, Miami. Then you have a bye after Miami. Just saying.
Yeah.
Could be an interesting bye week. Take it for what
Billy Napier. That schedule with what the last 2 seasons have been, Billy Napier vibes. Might not survive the season if you don't start showing serious and aggressive signs of a turnaround. There's no accepting mediocrity, because this is, if they can't at least get to 7-8 wins, at least I think is where they'd have to get to. You're talking about 3 straight years of being not just below Florida State standards, but a below average football program in the Power Four, in a conference where Duke just won. Duke just won the conference championship. They played Virginia, and Florida State was watching at home.
This is how many games Florida State has won on the road the last 2 years, Spencer.
That's not good.
For those
on audio, that's a 0. That's a 0.
Yeah.
That's going to have to change. What won't change is me bringing back Brian Smith of Locked On Seminoles and the Portal Podcast. Brian, great as always. Speaking of coaching moves, how about this one for the Illini?